I'm not great with fancy words, but I need you to know I'm grateful. Grateful from the bottom of my heart. Grateful for the old folks who shared their stories so I could understand. Grateful for the veterans who sacrificed so I could be free. And grateful for God who never left us. Hey everybody, I'm Barron Trump. Today I'm standing up here not as some kid from a famous family, not as a name you might have seen splashed across the news, but just as me, a guy who's been thinking a lot about the people who came before us. The ones who gave everything so we could be here right now. I want to talk about the elderly, the veterans, the folks who poured their sweat, blood, and tears into making this country strong. And I want to thank God, too, for watching over us all, for keeping us safe through everything. I hope what I say hits you somewhere deep. Maybe makes you feel the gratitude that's been weighing on my heart. I grew up in a world most people can only imagine. Big houses, bright lights. A life where anything seemed possible. My dad, Donald Trump, he's this unstoppable force always charging ahead. My mom, Melania Trump, she's my rock, the one who taught me to stay grounded and look beyond what's right in front of me. People see my life and think, man, that kid's got it made. And yeah, I've been blessed in ways I can't even begin to pay back. But the older I get, the more I realize none of this just happened on its own. It came from the people who built it first. The grandparents, the great-grandparents, the soldiers who fought for this land. They're the ones who carried the load so I could have this shot. I've always been kind of a quiet guy. You know, growing up, I didn't really open up about what was going on in my head. But lately, I've felt this pull, this need to say thank you to the elderly who paved the way, to the veterans who put their lives on the line, and to God, who's been holding us all together. It's not just some random nice thought. It's something that's been growing inside me, bit by bit, through little moments I'll carry with me forever. One of those moments happened when I was about 12. We were at Mar-a-Lago, our family's place in Florida. It was this sunny summer afternoon, golden light everywhere, people laughing by the pool, but I wasn't feeling it. I wandered off by myself and ended up near the gardens, where I saw this older guy sitting on a bench. He had on this worn-out jacket, and there was a little pin on his chest. Later, I found out it was from World War II, a veteran's badge. I don't know why, but I walked over and asked, "Hey, mind if I sit here?" He gave me this warm, crinkly smile and nodded, so I did. And we started talking. He told me about when he was young, how he left his family to go fight in the war. "Kid," he said, his voice low but kind, "I never thought I'd make it back. There were nights I'd lie in those trenches freezing my tail off, just praying I'd see the sun one more time. But I didn't give up, 'cause I knew I was fighting for the folks back home, for my family and for kids like you down the road." I sat there soaking it in, and for the first time, something hit me hard. I looked into his eyes, wrinkled but shining when he talked about his family, and I thought, this guy gave up his whole youth so I could be sitting here today. When I got up to leave, he grabbed my hand and said, "Don't ever forget the ones who didn't make it back, son. They did it so you could have a better life." I nodded, but inside I felt this weight. I went back to my room, shut the door, and for the first time I prayed. Not asking for anything, just saying thanks. I thanked God for keeping that man safe through those awful days, and I thanked him for showing me my life isn't just mine. It's a gift from people like him. Then there was this other time. When I was 15, my family went to visit a veterans hospital in D.C. I wasn't thrilled about it. I was at that age where everything annoyed me. But my mom said, "Barron, you need to see this. These people are heroes." So I tagged along. Walking in, I saw all these older folks, men and women in wheelchairs, some lying in beds. A few had shaky hands. Some talked real slow because of their age, but one person stuck with me, a little old lady named Margaret. Margaret was tiny with snow-white hair, but her eyes, they were alive, sharp. She grabbed my hand and started telling me about how she'd been a nurse in Vietnam. "I saw boys die right in front of me," she said, her voice catching. "I bandaged their wounds, held them when they cried for their moms, prayed over them when they slipped away. I never forgot their faces." I asked her, "How'd you keep going? Why didn't you quit?" She smiled, this sad, strong smile, and said, "'Cause I believed God put me there to help them, and 'cause I wanted this country to stay standing so kids like you could live in peace." I left that hospital with my eyes burning. I didn't cry in front of her. I didn't want her to think I couldn't handle it. But when I got to the car, I just sat there and let the tears come. I thought about Margaret, those sleepless nights she spent saving people, all the sacrifices I'd never fully grasped. And I prayed again, not just thanking God for her, but asking him to bless every single person like her, the ones who gave so much and never asked for anything back. Those stories changed me. I started looking around and realizing the strong America I live in. It's not some given. It's built on the sweat and blood of the elderly, the veterans, people we sometimes forget about without meaning to. They didn't just fight for themselves. They fought for us, for me, for you, and above it all, I believe God was there, guiding them through the darkest days, protecting them so they could protect us. I'm not great with fancy words, but I need you to know how I'm grateful from the bottom of my heart. Grateful for the old folks who shared their stories so I could understand. Grateful for the veterans who sacrificed so I could be free. And grateful for God who never left us. He shielded those soldiers in the wars. He comforted the broken hearts, and he's still here, watching over us every single day. So here I am, just a kid who's starting to see the bigger picture. Those moments, like meeting that old vet at Mar-a-Lago or hearing Margaret's story, they're not just memories. They're lessons carved into me. They taught me that this country's strength isn't about buildings or power. It's about the people who gave their all. The elderly who kept going, the veterans who laid down their lives. I owe them everything, and I'll never take that for granted. And God, he's the one I turn to now because I know he's been there all along. Watching over those heroes, guiding their hands, and keeping us safe so we could have this life. I'm not perfect at this gratitude thing yet, but I'm trying. I want to live in a way that honors them, that says thank you every day, not just with words, but with how I show up. So to every veteran, every grandparent, every soul who sacrificed, I'm grateful. And to God, who's never let us go, thank you. You've held us through it all, and I'll keep saying it. We're here because of you.
In the quiet of the night I hear their names. Old souls who carried burdens faced the flames. They fought through the dark, gave all they had to give, so a kid like me could stand here and live. I see their eyes, the stories they hold, hands worn by time, hearts brave and bold. Through wars and tears, they built this land, and God above held every hand. Shadows of the brave lighting my way, voices from the past in every prayer I say. Thank you, Lord, for the ones who stood so tall. You kept them safe, you held us all. An old man's tale by a garden bench, a nurse's grace in a war's cruel trench. They gave their youth, their dreams, their fight, for a tomorrow they never see in sight. Their whispers linger, soft and true, a debt of love I'll carry through. They bore the weight, they paved the stone. God was there, they weren't alone. Shadows of the brave lighting my way, voices from the past in every prayer I say. Thank you, Lord, for the ones who stood so tall. You kept them safe, you held us all. Every scar they wore, every tear they cried, built this world for us on the other side. I'll live to honor, I'll stand to see the strength they left, the faith in me. Shadows of the brave lighting my way, voices from the past in every prayer I say. Thank you, Lord, for the ones who stood so tall. You kept them safe, you held us all. dawn their echoes stay. A grateful heart will never fade away. Through time and grace, I'll sing this song for the brave and God who carried on.